another opportunity has arisen, another lifeline for healthcare workers in the UK. I know a lot of things have been happening behind the scenes. We all know, we are all aware, and sad situations have been happening behind the scenes, and I'll just mention just but a few. And this is not to lay blame on anybody, because I know people do their best, people do try their best. So apparently a lot of companies have had their licenses revoked, which means if anybody was working for that organization, that means their visa is at risk. They're at risk of really going back home, which is a very sad situation, and it's not something that we would wish on anybody, or we would even want to find yourself in that situation. I'm a healthcare worker on a skilled worker visa, and I know what that means. I know how scary that is. I know how distressful that can be to some people. I know the mental health issues that those things bring. And so apparently a lot of people have been caught in that mess, in that predicament. And obviously it has come to the attention of, I'm sure, the government, because I know a few days ago we saw a lot of petitions going around, people petitioning, and it's been spoken about even in Parliament, and no wonder why they have finally responded. And guys, do stay tuned, because we're going to talk about an opportunity that they've opened up, which could be a lifeline. Guys, a big welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Florence, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm a healthcare worker in the UK, and I came on a skilled worker visa about 2.5 years ago. That's a long time. So this platform, we do talk about life in the diaspora, life abroad. We talk about opportunities, we do talk about struggles, and everything really to do with life in the diaspora, lifestyle, and things like that. We do talk about on this platform, and I do love to talk about the UK because I've got experience as that is concerned, but I also do share opportunities about other countries. No wonder why, even if you want to relocate to different countries, please do subscribe to this channel, because we've got so many opportunities that we're going to be bringing to you. So guys, let's get straight into it. So the government has actually put out FO about opportunities, highlighting the reason why they've actually been on all the care workers who have been affected by the said situation, whereby their companies have lost their sponsor license, they're at the risk of having their visas revoked, or the risk of going back home. So they've actually reached out to people and said, if you are in that situation, there's a list of products region by region in this country, in England, to say, do reach out to this particular email stating COS reference number and a short write-up of your situation without exaggerating. Guys, they want facts as they are, probably because you could be in possession of that a home office letter whereby you're given 60 days or 90 days to leave the country or find another certificate of sponsorship. So if you are in that situation, they've actually highlighted to say, do get in touch with that NHS contact in that region that is close to you. And so this is for people to actually be able to join the NHS in respective regions they live in. Guys, when I look at it, it's a really brilliant move by the government, and it's an opportunity. And I know other people who look at it and say, like, it's good to be true, but this once happened, and I'll share with you when it happened, which makes me really like say, I think this is genuine. I think people should go for it and see how that goes. And also in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I do feel are quite important in preparation as you prepare for this. If you're in that situation, there are other things that I do feel you need to also prepare, so that you stand a chance, so that you are not left out when others get absorbed by the system. By the way, I'm always people say, do join the NHS, because I know the opportunities that they are. I know how much of a marvelous organization to join if you're a starter in this country. It's a lifeline. It's a good place to start. It's good for, want to establish yourself in this country. It just gives you the right environment, the right atmosphere that you need. And guys, as disclaimer, as I'm sharing, I'm not representing any organization whatsoever, and I'm not an immigration advisor. I'm not giving immigration advice. So this is not to take away from you consulting an expert or you consulting an immigration advisor, but I'm just sharing information as I come across it, as I read it, as I hear friends and family who have actually done this pathway. And as I share, I've across one individual. We have actually responded to this thought by the government, by the NHS in particular, and they've actually managed to get their certificate of sponsorship. So this is working, so it's worth a try. So obviously it's out there, and as you can see, it's up to you to really try. But this, they've stated to say, if you are in that situation in particular whereby your sponsor license have been revoked, so if your sponsor license have not been revoked, if you haven't been sent that 60-day letter, please do not respond to those emails, because this could mess things up for you. Also, they've highlighted to say you can only reach out to one email, one contact. And also they've shared to say you can follow up after a week. You can actually follow up, or you can actually ring that department in particular to follow up on your application if nobody has reached out to you. So there is actually a few guidelines, a few do's and don'ts there. And guys, as usual, I do encourage you to, those instructions, just do as you're told, because sometimes failure to follow those instructions can actually jeopardize your chance of really getting absorbed. So guys, I've said at the beginning of this video that why I believe this is true, why I believe this is a lifeline that the government has actually thrown to people, is because who remembers in January 2023 this happened, but it happened in a different way. I'll share with you why. And I remember because I came in July 2022, and January of 2023, the government actually opened up for workers to work for more than 20 hours for a second employer. Who remembers that? If you do, please type in the comments. As you all know, I've shared the do's and don'ts of our visa, in particular the health and care worker visa, to say it allows for you to work for your employer, the one that's sponsoring you. However, it also allows you to work for a second employer. They allow you to work in a second job. So in that second job, you are only allowed to work for 20 hours a week. And guys, just stick to that. But in that period of January of 2023 until the 27th of August 2023, the government app for care workers on this skilled care worker visa to work anywhere for a second employer, for their employer, but for more than 20 hours. This was a temporary lift on the Cape for the 20 hours a week. And so this one for, from August, that's like what? That's for 8 months. And this was in response to staffing shortages, in social care sector. They were struggling for staff, they were struggling for people to cover shifts. So that ban was lifted, that cap was lifted. So this makes me believe to say once in a while, depending on the situation, depending on staffing levels, on this, they can do these things. And as you all know, if you watch the news in this country, you just know that one of the reasons why the NHS is struggling is because of staffing. They really, really do for staff. And obviously is the reason why. I'm not saying it is the reason why they have actually opened up for people to come, but it could be one of the reasons. Or it could be that they have realized that, okay, so many came in, and I know, and it's public knowledge that they're trying to curb on net migration, things like that. Rather, because that is actually reduce the numbers of people coming to work in this country, they've actually opened up to say if people are in this country, instead of them sending people back, rather that the system absorb those people that are already here, partly because there's advantages to it anyway. Those people have got experience, those people have adjusted to life in this country. It's unlike, it's a lot for somebody to adjust to systems, be it work, be it life socially. Rather, they would rather reintegrate or absorb people that are already in this country, find where to place them, than to really be looking at, should we be taking more people? Or rather, let's work with what we have. Guys, this is just my own thinking. This is my own opinion. I could be wrong, I could be right. And obviously, use your own judgment to decide. So guys, this brings us to where I am going to be highlighting a few things that I do feel one has to do if you are going to be pursuing this route, or if you're thinking, I want to try it. These are some of the things that I do feel you could really do the groundwork and get those things sorted. First and foremost, as usual, this is going to be another job opportunity. And because you're coming from a different organization to this one, definitely there's going to be the usual protocol employment. Obviously, probably you will be asked to apply, you will be called for an interview, because it's not like they're just going to be taking people for the sake of taking people, but there will be the normal, usual, personal statement is key. Obviously, I assume if you're watching this video, you already have got a track account. So sorting out your personal statement is one of the things that you really need to start doing. And I know I've shared a video where I shared my own personal statement and how I applied. I've also done a few videos on tips on how to come up with a convincing, catchy personal statement for NHS applications. So you better start working on yours now. The second that you need to start working on will be your interview preparation, because obviously there's no way that they're just gonna say the door is open, come in. You are gonna be interviewed, and guys, I've shared time and time again interview tips, and I'll continue to share. So it's worth starting to prepare, because that time shall come if you're going to pursue this route in particular. So you better start preparing on how you are going to perform in that interview. You would want to do your best. Given you're with an opportunity, you don't want to lose it because you didn't prepare enough. So it's worth it that you start preparing for your interview. Obviously, the other thing that I would like to touch on will be on references. A lot of people do miss out on opportunities because of references. So it's important that you already sort out, who to approach for references, who you're going to speak to for references. It's very important. I'll share with you what I did. So what I did was, on my references, I used reference from where I used to work back home. So that's what I used. I also used a reference for where I worked in a second job. I'm an advocate for people who work second jobs. If you're new in this country, in your first year, second year, third year, it's very important that you work a second job. Why? I know a lot of people could have different opinions as far as that is concerned, but I've always said this to say, it's a way of building up your experience, different one that you are already absorbing in your workplace. The second thing why it's so important is that it's a way of you building your references in this country, because I know different organizations have got different policies as far as issuing references is concerned. Some organizations are okay issuing a reference when you approach them and you explain to them why you need it. They are so happy and glad to give you that reference. But when it comes to other organizations, they are not keen on really giving people references. They will tell you need to resign first before we can give you. And to be fair, I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of asking from different people, their experiences whatsoever. There is no clear law really that compels these organizations to issue you a reference. So you wouldn't want to miss out on an opportunity because you could not provide a reference. So that's why I always say, if you're in your first year, second year, third year in this country, please do sure you've got a side job, you've got a second job that really can work as far as experience is concerned, references are concerned. So that's what I did. And also some people could say, well, for me to be able to get a reference for a second job, it's even difficult. They would need another reference from the employer that I work for. Well, for me, I worked for an agency. So most agencies really are a bit understanding and forgiving when it comes to references. If you explain to them that my current employer will not be able to provide me with a reference, they will be glad to say, okay, let's have somebody that you worked for back home, let's have a character reference. It's very important. That's what I did. I joined an agency, and from that agency, that's when I really got my second job, and it's just been a build up of references up to date. Also, one of the things that I want to emphasize when you're applying to the NHS around references again, they really are not keen on Gmail, Yahoo emails. They want emails with a domain. They want professional emails. So bear in mind that as you're preparing your references, they have to be professional references. Also, they do accept character references, but they have got a whole list of registered or acceptable character references that they would want from you. So it's worth really checking and doing your research. Last but not least, one of the things that I would encourage people to prepare around is the fact that obviously if you make it, you apply, you go for your interviews, you pass and you get that opportunity. Obviously, you're moving from the visa that you were on to this visa with the NHS. So obviously, it's important for people to know that you will need to pay for your visa fees. You need to apply for this visa. So it's important that you already know that, okay, I'm going to money for this visa, and then you budget for it. There's nothing as disheartening as somebody will say, I've got an opportunity, I've got my COS, I don't have the visa fees, visa application fees. Guys, it's worth it that, we're about it so that people can actually prepare well in advance. And these are the things that you need to prepare for. So you would need to prepare. And most NHS trusts do a 3-year visa, 3 to 5 year visa. So you just need to be prepared to have the visa fees for that amount. Obviously, I know people may not want to know about this, but I would also say you may find an opportunity with the trust that's closer to you. So you may have to be relocating or to be having to commute a long commute. So you need a bit of a saving as far as that is concerned. So it's very, very important. We are people that are prepared. We prepare for these things beforehand. But guys, I think this is a great opportunity. I think this is a lifeline that's worth appreciating and taking note of. But guys, if this does not cover maybe where you live, there is always other opportunities, other ways of really getting into the NHS. Guys, I've got good news, because I know, as you know, I don't know if I've shared it here on this platform, but as you know, if you've got an NHS interview coming up, do reach out to me and I will coach you, and that is for free. I'll do interview coaching for you. I've been that for a while, and we do have a few from people, so it's something that I do as a way of giving back to the people that do support what we do. And again, I'm somebody who believes in we can only be as successful as how successful community is, and you are our community. So guys, that's all I had for you in this video, and I'll see you in our next video. Guys, don't forget to subscribe and also to press on the notification bell so that you do not miss any of our very informative, thoughtful videos we do share here. We do appreciate you, and we will see you in our next video, guys. Bye for now.